what is the big picture, and how can we adjust our lens or our perspective that can influence the choices that we make? I frame it this way: how can we take a long, loving look at the particular lens through which we view the world so that we can make more responsible choices? I recall reading in the book A Hat Full of Sky by the author Terry Pratchett. He wrote, "There's always a story. It's all stories, really. The sun coming up every day is a story. Everything's got a story in it. Change the story. Change the world. Change the story. Change the world." Your life is an intricate tapestry woven from ancient spools of colorful thread. Each fine thread, spun from stardust, is woven on a cosmic loom, which, when the time is just right, or once upon a time, is faded into the world as you. Shimmering strands of DNA come together in a beautiful and unique masterpiece that contains the universe's imprint, now incarnate in the jagged edges of your family, your race, your culture, ready to unfold as your story, your life. The tapestry that comes into the world as you, though intrinsically beautiful, is far from complete. If you were able to look back at the early version of your life, you might not be able to recognize yourself. Loose threads dangle in every direction as if waiting for you to pick up the shuttle to pass through the loom of your days to continue your story. Slowly over time, in spite of many fellow weavers tugging on those loose threads, an image of you begins to take shape. And then there comes a time when you stand back from the tapestry, feeling that you may be nearly complete in creating the image of you. And suddenly it seems that, like when you weren't looking, some invisible force has tugged on the frayed edges of your masterpiece, revealing a more tangled and maybe a little distorted image. All those years of spinning yarn from the wool of ambition, weaving a career, borrowing more and more thread from the local thread bank, falling in and out of love, leaves an indelible impression that there's much more to be discovered. And then you remember that the storied layers of knotted and frayed yarn, underneath there's one golden thread. In order to untangle the web that has become your life, you must follow that golden thread that was secretly woven before the beginning of time and is now faded or concealed within the corporeal surfaces of the unlikely narrative of your life. The golden thread now shimmers with a luminescence that leaves your once colorful story faded in the background. This is the golden thread of purpose that, when followed, will lead to your deepest joy and ultimately to your destiny. Again, I believe that secretly woven, partially hidden in each of us, perhaps before we were born, is a story. This story holds an orientation and a purpose for each of us and for all of us. Though many feel like we're born with no story, like a blank slate, the Latin phrase is tabula rasa. I believe that written on the essence of each one is a core pattern and vital shape that can be, remembered and lived into. This story thread can be sought and found within as well as encountered in the outer world, as your story is interwoven with others. I love Mary Oliver's question that touches the age-old human inquiry. Tell me, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? Who am I? For what purpose was I born? What should I do with my life? The insights, the way, can be found inside the very questions themselves, inside the one asking, and inside the story already being lived. It is the quest, it is the journey, and it all begins with your story. And so, some questions that we are called to reflect on. Where can I share my story? Who will listen me into being? What is the listening community to which I belong? How can I give witness in the hearing of my story to the story that I'm living out in my life, broadening my lens so again I can see that sense of purpose, that golden thread of purpose that is so needed right now. Because if you don't discover your unique purpose, the reason for which you are born into this world, no one else is going to do it. You're unique. Your purpose is your purpose. And it's time that those of us who are waking from the trance really begin to discover and live into that deepest story of who we are and how we're called to live into our deepest purpose in this world. Thanks.